I'm Farkas Gabor Kiss from the University Eötvös Loránd of Budapest, where I teach medieval and early modern literature. I'm here in my role as a researcher of the late medieval art of memory. That's how I held my keynote as well. As a keynote speaker, everything was brilliantly organized, and the hospitality that the IMC provided couldn't have been more perfect. The responses from the audience were very telling and edificating. I think just the atmosphere that the IMC created contained in itself a sense of creativity. So it's a very young conference, and that's what I appreciated about it the most. Young in the sense that the people who are present are young. It was actually one of the first conferences where I felt as a more senior scholar, and that was not only because I got older during the years, but also because there are so many doctoral students and so many young scholars who participate and who interact with the senior generation of research. So it was an important experience for us all, I think. It's one of the very few central meetings in the field of medieval studies. Perhaps there are 2 or 3 other conferences that can be compared to it, but I think in Europe this conference has a unique role. And the reason why I liked IMC in these few days was that it had a kind of relaxed atmosphere in comparison with other conferences. So people were not so stressed about finding a job occasion. They were really focused on research. There were really friendly relationships among scholars. There was not so much a sense of competition as one can see in other meetings and conferences. One of the most important aspects about which I've talked with colleagues in the past few days was the digitization perspective. So how medieval studies will go digital, and it will definitely go digital. And I've seen many of the younger colleagues, doctoral students, working on digital projects. Becoming digital doesn't necessarily mean that we become superficial. And I think it's important always to focus on the text, even if we have all the images and all the very fancy things. So there is always a very hard study, and everybody from Hugh of St. Victor to the end of the Middle Ages said that it's a very hard thing to study. So one shouldn't neglect all the languages that are needed to this immense field, and this type of philological scrutiny that was always needed for this field. Actually, this type of very slow kind of study is endangered now. I think we want to get always quick responses, quick results from all kinds of research. And I think when we want to defend medieval studies, we should always stress this aspect, that this is a field where slow study is necessary, and digital humanities can take over many things, but they cannot take over the slow part of the things.